communication manager of Woonkoop, a housing cooperative.
Ah, great.
Where I hope, like, through this cooperative mindset, we get more rooftop farms in the co-housing projects. But one of the, let me find it. Yes, it's here. Like in Belgium, it's not a big thing yet. It's like to explain what happens. Basically, you have a group of citizens who set up a cooperative, just like you said, and then they collectively buy houses to then rent to themselves.
Yes.
Like, but at the moment, the Woonkoop has 1,100 shareholders.
Okay.
And only
a lot.
And 200 living units, which would be around 400 people living in them.
Okay.
So, and the goal is to have 1,000 buildings, and that would be like 20,000 maybe living units.
Oh, really? Okay.
That would be amazing. Like, and because of the pooling of resources and knowledge, you get really high quality buildings.
Yes.
You get and more sustainable buildings, and you have community and this and that. So lots of benefits there.
Definitely.
But lots of what they are always using is like, this is somewhere between renting and buying. It's like woonkooping.
Oh, yes. So you don't own it in the full sense.
Yeah, you own it a bit. You own a part of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not just renting from something you are not connected to. So
it's also for future generations to ensure that they can also get access to housing.
They want to stabilize the markets, as simple as that.
Yeah.
So
they want to keep the prices also lower.
Normal. Yeah. They want to lower the prices, but for now that's hard.
Yeah.
But the bigger the size, the easier that's going to be. But the example they always use is Zurich. Zurich in Switzerland, they have this as a much more normal thing.
Already.
Yeah. Like the question for this quiz intermezzo is going to be how big a percentage of the housing market is in hands of these type of cooperatives. They call it non-profit housing.
Okay.
Basically, because the goal of renting out the place is not to make profit, but to have a good community, to have a sustainable housing. And the question is, how much of the housing market? Is it A, 10%? Is it B, 20%? Is it C, 30%? Or is it 40% of the housing market is owned by these housing cooperatives in Zurich?
Well, I guess you must have picked out an example which has some excellent numbers there. But I would say 40% is quite high. I would say, I don't know, 20?
That is completely correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So at least one correct.
These numbers might be outdated because they did a referendum a couple of years ago in Switzerland or in Zurich specifically. I'm not sure if it's countrywide. And they want to raise that number to 33%.
Okay.
So it might already be more than 20% as we speak now.
But that's a huge amount of, that's...
Yeah. And it's
a huge amount of houses.
The renting prices are 20% lower than
in Switzerland.
In Zurich, yeah.
Because that's 20% 20% lower in Zurich than in the other
in normal housing in Zurich. Normal. In like capitalist housing.
Yeah.
But this is like the combination. This is social capital housing, socialist capitalist housing, we could call it.
Yeah, but it definitely has a social component, an inclusive component, I guess. But maybe it's still difficult for people who are less affluent to get a share. I guess. But then governments should play a role in that.
Or
again, public lands and public housing. They have public housing, but they're selling it.
There's actually another possibility. That's actually what Woonkoop, the company I'm working for, is doing.
Yeah.
They're organizing specific living units for refugees at the moment. They're doing a couple of projects together with other citizens. They're actually asking people to invest in the company, but rent-free, not rent-free, interest-free for 5 years. So normally if you have a share, you get interest, but they ask specific people for these refugees to lower their renting price.
Okay.
We would ask you to not have interest for 5 years, so we can lower the price of renting.
Okay,
and so that's
inclusive. That's making differences for people in other positions.
Yeah, and you could combine that with giving them a share in the company.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not only for refugees. You can do this. You can do this for homeless people.
Oh, yeah, or people just who don't have such large incomes. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. you bring them into a very strong social construct, because these co-housing projects are generally with a strong group of people.
Yes.
That are very connected. And if you bring somebody in who needs help, they can get with the help to the level.
Well, that would be really nice. I guess a lot of co-housing today is still quite middle class oriented.
Yeah.
And things like that can break that open.
Yeah. But the problem is it's middle class oriented because it's so expensive still yet.
Yes.
And then how the bigger it gets, the more affordable it's going to become.
Yeah. And governments have a crucial role to play in that as well.
Supporting it, basically.
Yeah, supporting that kind of initiatives, not selling public lands, but
for
keeping
example.
them to use for sustainable housing as well, for collective housing.
Yeah, it's collective housing, but we can apply the same principles to farming, like you did with Pomona and the herenboeren.
Yeah, it's a bit of a patriarchal
lord farming.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange idea, I think, because it used to be like the Lord and then somebody working for the Lord.
Yeah.
That I don't think that's very community wise.
People in the Netherlands, please change the name. Could be better.
Yeah. Maybe rethink the name.
We call it gemeenschapsboeren.
Yeah. Good.